Good evening and welcome. I'm Dr. Deborah Williams, Executive Fashion Director for the Harlem Week Fashion Shows and President and CEO of Her Game 2 Productions. I am so very glad that you all have joined us today. I am thrilled to have such a distinguished panel of fashion giants with me this evening. Our theme today is honoring our fashion legacy, and our guests have all left an indelible mark on the fashion industry. Honoring our legacy means actively preserving and living out the values, the lessons, and the traditions that have been passed down by those who came before us. Our guests tonight are here to share those lessons with us. John Blassingame, the godfather of fashion. When the world of prime print publications and top-notch fashion events come to mind, one name stands out as the trailblazer behind those movements, John Blassingame. With an illustrious career spanning influential print publications and groundbreaking fashion productions, Blassingame has cemented his status as an innovator and visionary in this industry. His name is synonymous with excellence, and his contributions have shaped the landscape of fashion, setting the stage for a new era of creativity and inspiration. Please welcome John Blassingame. Solio. Solio is a curator, writer, impresario, consultant, and muse who documents and amplifies the stories of emerging and underrepresented artists and creative figures. He has curated Bo McCall, Buttons On, a national tour, Diane Smith's two turntables and a microphone, showing out fashion in Harlem for the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. And I found God in myself, a celebration of for colored girls at the Schomburg Center. He is the co-curator with Barbara Paris Gifford of the upcoming exhibition at the Museum of Arts and Design, opening October the 9th, 2027. And he has had pivotal roles that he's held with the High School of Fashion and the Black Fashion Museum. Please welcome Solio.
Hi.
And last, but certainly not least, Kels Barnett. Kels was born and raised in Harlem, New York. He is a well known fashion designer and business owner who has made a name for himself as a visionary and marketing magician. He has been an integral part of the Harlem fashion community for over 25 years. He is the designer of 5001 Flavors fashion line and is owner of Harlem Haberdashery, a destination retail store in Harlem, New York. He is recognized as a results driven marketing and community relations expert with decades of experience leading strategic marketing initiatives, fostering partnerships, and driving brand growth across many sectors. Please welcome Kels Burnett. All right. Welcome to all of our distinguished panelists. And I thank you all so much for your willingness to share your stories and your many years of experience in the fashion industry with this Harlem Week audience. So, first of all, let me start by having you introduce yourselves and tell us why you got involved with the fashion and beauty industry. What started you? What sparked that in you? And I'm going to start with you, John.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name again is John Blassingame. My company is called New Day Associates. I started out in this industry in the print industry. I worked with Hearst magazines. I was one of the first blacks that they hired. That's Cosmo, Good House, Harper's Bazaar, Town and Country, and other titles. I would again I had the biggest afro, but when I went to the sales meetings, they joked me about the afros and etc. But I knew I was there for a reason and a purpose, and that was to learn the distribution and to bringing magazines from the black culture into the industry, because, and I'll give you an example, Mr. Johnson with Negro Digest, which later turned into Ebony Magazine, they would not allow him to distribute his magazine through the traditional. So he had to go through the black newspapers to get his magazines out. So after learning the distribution end of it and making my name synonymous in that industry, I started out and I brought other black publications in, such as Upscale, Sheen magazine. I worked with Essence magazine and other small publications, and that's how I got into the industry. Now, I want to talk about how I started with the fashion industry. I had a magazine called Us Quarterly out of Chicago, out of Detroit, Michigan. The gentleman who started it had a hair salon, and he asked me to help distribute the magazine. So I helped him out, and he said, "Well, how do I get promoted? How do I promote my publication?" And I said, "Well, let's do a major fashion show." And this was, by the way, August the 13th, 1976. I said, let's invite a lot of the superstars, my cousin Jennifer Bryce, which was one of the top models at that time, Peggy Diller, Tookie Smith, and a gentleman named Quiet Fire helped me put on this show. We invited Essence Magazine. We invited a lot of people from the industry, one of the that ever started. Unfortunately, the hair magazine, didn't make it, but everybody loved that show. And I've been putting on the shows since 1976 up until 2019 when COVID hit and I could not put the shows on. But then after the COVID, I went back to started my shows and I'm still doing them. I hope it
Awesome.
wasn't too long.
Awesome. No, thank you, John. Thank you, John. So, Leo, introduce yourself. How did you get motivated to get in this business?
Hi, thank you for having me. Just want to make clear. So I didn't I wasn't part of high school fashion or the Black Fashion Museum, but everything else, yes. um, but just so I got started. I don't identify so much in the fashion industry. I'm more adjacent. I'm really coming from a background as a uh, writer, a storyteller, and a curator. So in my writing, I've written for Huffington Post, NBC, Ebony, Jet magazines, and I've covered fashion here and there. But really, my role in terms of fashion is more about as curating. I've curated exhibitions that have featured fashion and wearable art, such as Showing Out Fashion in Harlem at the Schomburg Center, celebrating the Harlem Institute of Fashion. And I got started through really my partner, Bo McCall, who I'm wearing now, the button necklaces. When we got together in 2010, not only did we form a romantic bond, we formed a creative bond as well. And so he helped inspire me to want to be a curator. Him and my brother going through quite the past because I wanted to elevate emerging talent and both as wearable art. And so that's really how I really got interested in fashion.
So you got started. All right. And what about you, Kels? How did you get involved in this industry?
Hey, thanks for having me. Wow. So, being from Harlem, I'm born and raised in Harlem. My family started a clothing brand 1992. I remember the day we started. I remember the day we came up with the name. My brother was like, we're going to call it 5001 Flavors. I was like, all right, that's what we're doing. I guess that's what we're doing. I come from a family of dreamers. We had no example to go by. We literally figured it out, trial and error all together. We're still in business, celebrating our 34th year this year. About 15 years ago, we decided to open up a boutique, Harlem Haberdashery. Now we're celebrating our 15th year. So the way I got started in fashion is literally being from Harlem. Everybody already thought they was fly, being from Harlem. So it's like inevitable for me to get into fashion some way, somehow. My family starting a business kind of led me in that direction. I went to school. I did not think I was going to get into fashion. I went to school for business. I got my master's in business. When I graduated college and I came back to the real world, I realized that the TV version of the American Dream didn't exist. I went on, I applied for millions of jobs. I got no interviews, nothing. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just give this fashion thing a try. I already been designing here and there during high school and college. So when I came out to the world and there was no jobs for me, I just decided to do fashion. And I've been doing this my whole life, and I've been doing it ever since I graduated. I wasn't able to find a job, and it's been going very well. There's a lot of ups and downs, but it's been going beautiful.
Mhm. Okay, so speaking of that, speaking of the downs, let's talk about the struggles. This is a tough industry. A lot of people don't know how difficult it is to be successful in retail, in publications, in writing and publishing. It's a difficult journey to get into the industry in any of those areas. Tell us a little bit about the struggles that you've had throughout your years of trying to make it in this business. I'll start with you,
That's
Kel.
Wow, the struggle, the number one struggle I think that all Black entrepreneurs face, not just fashion, is the lack of resources. Usually, Black entrepreneurs, Black fashion designers, our funding is 100% ourselves. It's literally a lot of grassroots funding. So, we always jokingly, my family always jokingly say that we are Black owned, operated, and financed. There's no backing. We have an angel investor. We literally figure everything out that we have to do on our own accord. And the gift to that is that it's on your own accord. The curse of that is that it's on your own accord. Like
Right.
you rise and you fall on your own back. But
Yeah.
I always tell young designers and young entrepreneurs with anything, there are ups and there's downs. The ups can come frequently, but that down is dark. And it's just the lack of resources and the lack of finances and the lack of access to those resources and finances that not only myself struggle with, but a lot of people in this fashion and entrepreneurial space.
Yes. And what about you, John? You've been in the you doing
yeah. Well,
fashion
let me
shows and
just say
events.
this: in the print media, when the social media came in, it took away from the print. A lot of that we had a lot of the magazine, the major magazines, go under once that social media came in. So it was a struggle trying to get myself back into the groove, which I had to learn to go the social media way. And if you look at what's happening with the print media today, it's changed. It's not prevalent as it used to be, even though it still exists. It's not as prevalent as it used to be. So I've struggled trying to maintain the my presence within the print media as well as getting now going into the social media. Okay, and by the way, a lot of the young models today, when you look at when I first started out with the models and etc., they had a different attitude. Today, the models today they have a totally different attitude towards working with you and etc. Well, I got I'm online and my Instagram is I got 50,000 people, I got 25,000, and I don't have to. They're following me and etc. That's the problem today. It doesn't pay. Is it paying you? That with all these followers you got, are they paying you? So this is the struggle that I'm dealing with today. And,
Right now. Gotcha. And that's been a struggle for a while, but I understand what you're saying. What about you,
mhm.
Solio? You've been grinding through here and working and writing and documenting. What are your struggles? What have been the struggles trying to become successful here?
I really want to, second what Cal said about the lack of resources, financial resources specifically, because I've seen so many talented people with great ideas, all the ambition, and the only thing
Mhm.
that I felt that may have held them back is the financial resources, and that's really unfortunate
Hmm.
because that is the product of the history of. slavery and colonialism that has targeted our people, we're still fighting against that. Having a late head start, so to speak. And that continues to be a challenge. And yes, we do have to come out of pocket for certain things. My first exhibition I co-curated with Lisa D. Hayes at Strivers Gardens Gallery was in a condominium in a hallway, and I had to come out of pocket for certain things that I wanted in order to make it successful. Um, and that's the challenge. And I would also add that another part of the challenge is also having the human resources, sort of the network. We don't always have the network and know who to reach out to and have that sort of inside track. So building that network, has taken me, over a decade, and I'm still building. And so I think those have been some of the main challenges.
Let's talk Harlem for a minute. I mean, this is our Harlem Week audience, and we're always happy to have them all with us today. So let's talk Harlem a little bit. I think we all recognize that Harlem has always been in the forefront when it comes to fashion and it comes to style. How do you think that Harlem has influenced this fashion industry? And I'll start with you, Kel.
So when I was in school, like grade school, high school, elementary school, I absolutely fell in love with the Harlem Renaissance. And to be very honest, I know it's going to sound biased. I would have loved Harlem no matter where I was at in the world. I really do truly feel that way. Harlem, to me, specifically the Harlem Renaissance, what that taught me was the power of community and the power of unity. So as I came up in business and quote unquote searching and thriving for success, I realized that the only way to be successful is that Harlem Renaissance community kind of aspect. And I think the influence from Harlem Renaissance, we still see remnants of that. We see it in music, we see it in film, we see it in fashion, we see it in culture. That will never go away. Now, most people probably don't even know what the Harlem Renaissance is, but we still see and feel that. I think our influences is evergreen because like is Harlem is just the black mecca. You Google Harlem, Harlem Renaissance, Harlem during the '60s, Harlem during the '70s, Harlem during the '80s. You will see some of the top designers runway stuff in the pictures of Harlem. And
Mhm.
we, each of us right now, we could go outside our house and walk the streets of Harlem and we can see the latest trends 10 years before they become the latest trends. Now you see a lot of high end brands trying to promote to us hot do rags. Then we've been wearing do rags forever, but now they're
Right.
trying to promote it as a luxury item, and we've been putting that into our fashion as high luxury items forever. You see
Mhm.
the woman where they put the pins in a doobie. Now high end brands are selling high end pens that cost 15, $1,600 that they're trying to sell to us that the girls in our neighborhoods been wearing forever. So Harlem is influential because I think that we're always everybody on the block is always trying to outdo the other person fashion wise, like everybody trying to be fly than the other. So I think that's why we stay with the curve because now with social media, someone from across the pond, across the water, could literally open their phone and jack our style without ever stepping a foot onto the soil of Harlem. So social
That's
media makes
true.
it very easy for Harlem to continue to be influential.
That's
I,
true.
I,
So, Leo?
I second that emotion that,
Oh,
that
okay. John, we'll go
Harlem.
to John.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Is
ahead.
it all right to go to me now?
Yeah,
No,
go
that's
ahead.
okay. That's okay, John.
No,
Take it away.
I second that because I am telling you, you look at Harlem and what it represents. Okay, back in the early 30s and 40s, and back, and look at some of the things that have happened. Dapper Dan, look at him, look what they did to him. All right, but he came back out. Harlem has a lot of history in fashion, a lot of history, and
Mhm.
we we don't get our credit, okay, for what we have created, and that's been throughout our history. We never get the credit, but we are the creators. Harlem is the mecca of fashion, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you, John. So, Leo, do you agree?
Absolutely. And just remind me, so the question is, what is the legacy of fashion in Harlem?
Yes.
Yes. So when I I second everything that was said, so I don't want to reiterate all of that. But I would add that when I think of the legacy, I think of the Harlem Institute of Fashion. I think of local grassroots initiatives and organizations like that have served as an incubator for emerging fashion designers and models and so forth. Lois K. Alexander Lane, who did the Harlem Week fashion shows for many years, had the Harlem Institute of Fashion, the Black Fashion Museum, the National Association of Milliners and Tailors, and these are it's something that hasn't been mainstream platformed yet. The what she did and what so many others like her did, but I think of our legacy of mutual support, community building, and having our own community efforts, and that to me is the legacy.
Awesome. Awesome. So I agree with everything that everybody said. So let's bring it up to the current times a little bit. And now the people that influence fashion, we call those influencers. Who do you think would you consider the influencers who are really influencers of today? And why do you consider them an influencer? Kel?
So social media, John had mentioned it earlier about how social media kind of changed the platform of a lot of things. Traditionally, before social media, the word influencer existed. We just didn't put emphasis on the word influencer. It was called tastemaker, socialite, stuff like that. Social media kind
Trendsetter.
of leveled the playing field of the need for a specific name. To me, right now, there's a young kid on my block where I'm from that has more influence over fashion than a top influencer, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
now do we have big name influencers? Absolutely. But like I said, because social media leveled the playing field, people from all around the world are able to click on anybody that has a public page, steal your style, steal your aesthetic, steal your vibe, your swag, and you're influencing them. They take your likeliness, put it on their page, and every young kid, every young designer I know has had their stuff stolen by a big name brand. But what happens is if I have 2,000 followers and then an influencer that has 200,000 followers steals my look, who are you gonna believe made up the look? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what social. That's the dangerous part about social media is when you put your stuff out there, someone is going to steal it. So to me, there are no necessarily like well as far as I think, because I've always been more impressed with behind the scenes people than in front of the scenes people. So I'm more
Mm-hmm.
impressed by the kids who I don't know their names walking by my boutique every day. Those kids are far more influential than any big name influencer that I will be able to name.
All right, those are the real influencers. Those are the
Yes,
real
they
ones.
are the kids. The streets of
All
Harlem
right,
is the big influencer.
Yes.
right in from the street. John, what do you think about
I,
that
you know what?
question?
I'm gonna be a little prejudiced right now. I'm looking at what my son Marcus Blasingame, okay, is doing in the. He's a stylist. He has a magazine called In Black, and he has taken done some Rico Ross, okay, who
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows who he just did something
Mm-hmm.
with Rico, okay, and I see what he's trying to do, and he has something called in Walker. I forget the name of it, but they Mark has created this and for young models and he's styled a lot of known people and I'm so proud of him and if we can't give a little credit to our own we are
Mhm.
lost and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing. I'm proud of what he has done, okay, and he really looking at what he's accomplished, okay, I'm influenced by what he's accomplished. It might
Yeah.
make a chip off the young block.
Yes, indeed, indeed. The apple did not fall far from the tree,
From
that's
the
for
tree.
sure.
Yeah. All right.
So, Leo, who are your influencers? Who do you think is an influencer now, and why? And what
Uh,
makes them an influencer?
Yeah, I think, I agree a lot with what has been said already because there's different levels of being an influencer. It's not just the person with the large social media following, there's micro influencers. and people who are not even on social media, like you mentioned, Kelsey, everyday people, as pioneers. But to me, really, I'm more interested in sort of people who were in the past and whose legacy
Mhm.
continues to influence. Because we always think about as an influencer as someone who's contemporary and of the moment. But there are some people whose
Mhm.
essence, whose
Mhm.
contributions to history and culture have a lasting, everlasting influence. I'm thinking of, Lois Alexander Lane, I'm thinking of Dapper Dan, I'm thinking of so many people. So for me, those are timeless influences who continue to inspire me.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I know that you all have talked, now we've talked a little bit about the challenges. We talked about how you kind of got to where you are at this point. So I'm sure that somewhere along the line, you feel very, very proud of what you've done. What are you most proud of? Solio?
Oh, anything? What am I? I'm most proud of uh, being of service in the sense of
Mhm.
uh, using whatever platform I have been blessed with to highlight emerging, underrepresented narratives and talent. From my partner Bo and platforming him and my brother and platforming, helping to platform the legacy of the Harlem Institute of Fashion through my exhibition. And then my show that's coming up that you mentioned, Harlem by Hand, next year, which will feature fashion and wearable art, specifically from Harlem, contemporary. I'm grateful that I have been blessed to have an opportunity and I'm able to reach back and help others, uh, especially those who don't get the spotlight as much as they can. So I'm grateful for that.
All right. So, John, other than being proud of Marcus, what are you most proud of?
Well, I'm a connector. I've
Mm-hmm.
worked with Bernard Bronner, would help him start Upskill magazine. Kim Chapman helped her start Sheen magazine from a pamphlet. I met her at Bronner Brothers. And Will Packer, everyone knows who Will is. Will was the first black that did the Oscars. He did Stomp the Yard, Think Like a Man. Well, his
Mm-hmm.
first movie, Menage a Trois with Kenya Moore, I
Mm-hmm.
helped to promote it. Bernard helped with the financing, but I helped him promote that movie. And I put him, by the way, I am the founding publisher of Hype Hair, Today's Black
Mhm.
Woman, and Black Men's Magazine. So when Bill first started out, by the way, he came from FAMU from Florida, came to Atlanta, okay, and he was starting out, didn't have a penny to his name, so we supported him. Me and Bernard Bronner supported him. All right, and that's what I've been doing with young models, young designers, makeup, hair people, publishers for the 50 years, and that's what I'm celebrating, by the way, if I may say, 50 years of the industry in April the 11th, 2027. That's what I'm celebrating. And for a black man in America, that's a feat. After all the struggles that we go through, okay, and look at what's going on today and see what they're trying to take away from us, okay?
Mhm.
And what I've been doing, and this is what I'm really proud of myself, and that is I'm a connector, but I preach
Mhm.
unity in our community because that is what it's going to take today to bring us back together is that
Mm-hmm.
unification economically, all right, socially, etc. That's me. I'm a unifier. I'm a connector. That's what I do.
And that is something you should definitely be proud of, and we are proud of you. And let me
Mhm.
tell you something, 50 years of existing in
Mhm.
this industry is a feat. It is
Yeah.
something to be proud of, and I'm so proud of you and the fact that, because I remember you way back when, Her Game Two's been here for like 30 years.
That's right. Well,
And
you
so I've
judge.
known you the
Yeah,
whole
you
30, at
judge
least
my
30 of those
show.
years.
You were there
Yes,
with me.
yes. So
Okay,
I've seen you.
you keep clean
Yes,
skill. Vibe magazine. Lynn
yes,
Burnett, Cynthia
yes,
Horner from Right On
yes.
magazine. I mean, we go back and help with
Mhm.
that Word Up magazine. So And I
Yes,
just thank God that I'm still here to say to preach to the young folks today about
yes,
unification, unity in our community. That's what we're
yes,
lacking, and that's what we start to have that powerfulness, bringing it together.
yes. And we thank God for you, John.
Mhm. Thank you.
Kel, what are you proud of?
Oh man, because it's such a rat race. A lot of times I got to tell myself to slow down and think about what I've done,
Mhm.
and what my brand and my family and what we have accomplished. Um, because I go from project to project. Like I'll see, like we just did the New Edition tour, but a lot of times you don't have time to revel in that because now you got to worry about this award show or this shoot or this or this or this. But what I'm most proud of, above all the celebrity stuff we do, the movies, the commercials, the tours, I love making suits when it's someone first time wearing a suit. That's usually
Mhm.
a young man's prom or sometime a young man's wedding. That's usually the first time that a young boy or a young man will get a suit made. To see their energy. I love doing proms. Proms are my absolute favorite thing to do. Second would be wedding. Second would be doing grooms. One, I love educating men on how clothing is supposed to fit. Social media
Mhm.
does a real disservice about men's fashion and how things are supposed to fit. And traditionally, because we dress oversized, a lot of men need proper education with how suits are supposed to fit. So I just love doing first time suits for men. It is my absolute favorite thing to do, specifically proms and weddings. It really does make me proud that I'm able to help a man on a journey. And then when you start to see them getting into suits more and then educating other brothers, a lot of brothers have started organizations from literally me educating them in suits. So same thing with everyone here is saying the service of our people, um, connecting our people to things that's supposed to be right. I just love being of service to people. That's my overall goal in life.
That's awesome. And it's not just that you're dressing him in a suit. You're really
Yeah,
arming him. You're
it's bigger
empowering
than that.
him.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's bigger than that. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And then he can go on and move on and empower the next person. So
yeah.
that's great work.
Yep.
That's some good work. That's good work. All right. So let's keep going on our conversation here. Now, no good conversation or discussion is complete without a conversation about AI. So first of all, like I want to just talk about what is AI for those in the audience. I don't know how you could miss it at this point, but that don't know what AI is. So basically, in short, AI is a process that allows us to take in large amounts of data, analyze all that data for patterns, and then use those patterns to make predictions about the future. That's the long and the short of it. And it clearly has become a game changer in the fashion industry in terms of how our supply chains work, in terms of how we market, how we design, how we sell, time to market, every aspect of the fashion industry. So there's good parts of it and there's bad parts of it. So in many ways, it has leveled the playing field in terms of the small designer versus the large designer. But we are
Mhm.
having to pay some prices for that as well. So let's talk about this. Is AI more beneficial to the industry? Is it really hurting the industry more? Or is it really some combination of both? And I'm going to start with you, Kel.
So what I've learned about technology, and I don't know if it's a generational thing, I'd rather lean into something rather than run away from it. When
Mhm.
AI first came around, I actively use AI effectively every single day. What Just like anything else in life, there of course we know there's bad things, but I see the benefit in AI when it pertains to me. I've used AI to help me do tech packs, to do sketch design, to do all of those little nuances that a lot of designers don't like to do. I've changed the color. Man, like, could I see this fabric in this color? It has helped me tremendously. Now, if you rely solely on AI, you're going to miss the shot. You're going to miss the whole point. That's the dangerous part about AI. I'm only able to use it to benefit because I know the technical parts of my business and what I need to be doing. The dangerous part is I'm scared in the next 10, 20 years, all of those technical aspects that makes any particular profession successful, a doctor, a mechanic, an engineer, an architect. If you try to replace that trial and error, real world experience, that's when it becomes dangerous. I'm only
Mhm.
able to use, and I tell all the young boys that I mentor this all the time. I'm only able to use AI because I know the shortcuts, and I tell my son this all the time. You can only effectively use a shortcut if you know the long way to somewhere. Don't try to use
Mhm.
the shortcut if you've never been to where you're going. It doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. So I'm
Mhm.
able to beneficially use AI. All my clients know this. Anyone that I've shared anything that I'll do with AI, and I'll tell them, I'm like, yo, I just did this color change on AI. I'm like, oh, that's dope. But I already know. I know where to go get swatches. I know where to go get all of these things. So I'm not skipping a step. I'm just making it easy for us in real time. So again,
Mhm.
only use the shortcut if you know the way, the long
No,
distance to where you're going. So that's what I got to
Gotcha.
say about AI. It is very
Got
dangerous, but if you able to learn your craft first and then use AI to help you perfect your craft.
got it. All right. So Leo, what do you think? Good, bad, hurtful, or both?
Um, I think we're still in the thick of it and still a ways from seeing how it's gonna sort of what the repercussions will be.
Yep.
I do agree with Kels that there are positive uses to it currently. I just know that on a mass level, I don't know if most people have the
Mhm.
patience, the
Yep.
dedication, the commitment to the craft itself to really use it in an honest, ethical way. That's the scary
Mhm.
part for me. That's why this show that's coming out next year, Harlem by Hand, is so important because it's an emphasis on the hand, right? And sort of not forgetting that you cannot replace the human element to creative
yeah,
production. And I think
Mhm.
that's what I try to center in my work, and that's what I would implore other people to try to center. But with anything, Pandora's box is open; it's not going anywhere. It's just about how we find a balance in our own personal lives and the usage of it. But I do
Mhm.
think it's important to look at how it's being regulated and make sure it's not replacing, human labor. That's the scary part of it as
yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Taking away our job.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. That's
Mhm. Mhm. And so,
it.
John, how do you navigate? Because you came up
Well,
through an era where we didn't have all of that, and now
well, we didn't
how are
have
you
all that.
pivoting
But,
into it?
to
Yeah, how are
me,
you
it's
pivoting
taking
into it?
away the humanistic side of, AI is just taking away the humanistic side of life. I mean, you put something in and then they come out with something different. Okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean, to me, it just takes away from the humanistic side. And I mean, it's a situation where it has its good sides,
Mhm.
okay, and then it also has the other side. And as Polio just said, it's taking away jobs, okay, and it's going to be fine, and it's not. It's here, and it's not going
Mhm.
away. We understand that, so we just have to find that way of putting it in where it fits in, and we have to learn how to utilize it in a beneficial way, and keep in mind it's still not human.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, that
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
that's my take on it.
All right. So, I think that we are in agreement that there are a lot of strong aspects of AI that Kels talked about. There's a lot of downside. It may become too cookie cutter. The
Mhm.
quality of products may not be the same. We might find that they're using it in ways that stifle creativity. And as long as we're going to make sure as an industry that we are going to promote creativity and we're going to promote diversity, then maybe it'll be actually more positive and more beneficial than hurtful to the industry. So
It's
one
in
thing that we know with absolute certainty, and that is that AI is here to stay.
Yep.
And if designers and retailers want to stay relevant in the industry, they will need to embrace it. That is
Mhm.
without a doubt. All right, so we're going to wrap this up for today. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to give me your closing thoughts or what last minute thoughts or notes that you might want to share with this Harlem Week audience. And Kels, I'm going to start with you.
One of the dopest pieces of advice that I tell any young designer, entrepreneur, anybody that wants to do anything when they come into the boutique or come into my office, whoever. Now, it's going to sound cliche, but it's a real thing. I always tell people the greatest advice I can give you is to not take advice from anyone. What I realize is that most people are so connected to someone's piece of advice that they don't ever do anything because they said, no, Cal said do this. I don't know what's going to work for you. Now you could ask for
Mhm.
my opinion, you could ask for what worked for me, but at the end of the day, do you? If you make red shirts and your friend said make blue, no, I make red shirt. Oh, that's my company's called Red Shirts. Do you trust your gut? Fail on your own back. Do not take advice from people and blindly go down a road that they never traveled. So that's the greatest advice I can give somebody is to not take advice from any or take that advice with a grain of salt. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. But just
Mhm.
trust your gut. I promise you will not fail if you trust your own gut.
Awesome. So, Leo?
I would say, support your Harlem fashion community, wearable art community. There's so many resources here. There's places like Soul Harlem and the Children's Art Carnival that has classes. There's so many rich resources here that need your support in shops and boutiques and so forth. And then the other piece is, there's more. There's so many different roles in fashion. It's not just designer or model or stylist. You can be an archivist. You can be a curator of fashion. So I would just expand our minds about what are the possibilities within the industry and where you can see yourself fitting into it.
All right, great. And you're a perfect example of that, so Leo.
Thank you.
And then John, what are your closing thoughts?
I always say to you young folk, your attitude is your longitude. Whatever you're doing in fashion, whatever, all right, carry yourself, okay? Understand where you're going and understand the road that you have to travel to get there. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Your attitude is your longitude. You can take it to wherever you want it. You can take it to the top. Or if you're not right, you can take it down to the bottom. It's up to you. You deal with it and go forward. Each and every day when I wake up, I give God the glory. And I said, this is another day that God has given me. Now, what I do with it is totally up to me. Okay.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
decide to make it a good day every day by my attitude alone. That's me.
All right. I love it. I love it. And that's why you are still here 50 years
Without
later.
a doubt.
Everybody can't say that. Everybody can't say that.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
well, this conversation has been one for the books. I am honored that you all have shared your experiences with us in this Harlem Week audience today. On behalf of Harlem Week, its board of directors, its chair, Marco Nobles, we thank you for sharing your incredible talent and your valuable time with us today. We
And Deb,
lost
we
an,
appreciate you.
Yes.
thank
Yes.
We
you,
appreciate you for
thank
all
you.
the 30 something years that you put into Harlem Fashion Week, her game. You have done a wonderful job. And we have to give you your flowers while you're here to appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for
I
being you.
appreciate you. I
Yes.
appreciate you, John. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate that. We lost an amazing supporter and promoter of fashion in the late chair of the board, Lloyd Williams.
Lloyd
And
Williams.
tonight's panel, honoring our fashion legacy, is a tribute to his tireless work
Yes.
on behalf of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, on behalf of Harlem Week, on behalf of our fashion show team. Lloyd, you are truly, truly missed. We thank all of you for joining us tonight. We are happy that you decided to spend your evening with us here today. And we thank you just for spending whatever little bit of time you had with these wonderful, talented um, titans of the fashion industry that we have here tonight. So we thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.